You will sleep better than you have ever slept. You've never been this relaxed. Are you ready to change your life? I'm Rusty Diamond, certified hypnotist. You don't need to leave your house. You can stay in your bed. You can stay in your favorite chair. You just need a computer or your phone. You can get a hold of me. Stay at home. I'll make your life better.
Hypnosisisgreat.com.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Hello, Miss Rusty. What is up, everybody? It is Tuesday. I should turn on the video so you can see me. Dang, I probably should have started that over, but it's all right. You'll get something to look at. Welcome to the Public Access Podcast, the podcast, the Pennsylvania Public Access Podcast, right out of Intercourse, Pennsylvania. Today on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. That's the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network, RDPN. It is there. So, what is up, everyone? Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening or watching. If you don't want to watch this, you don't want to look at my face, you go on to listen anywhere like Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Pandora, or if you want to watch, you're like, man, what's this guy look like? Go on to YouTube or Rumble. Probably be on there. So I'm bringing my guest right here, right now. And my special guest right here, right now is Dr. Liz Shuler. And there she is. Thank you
Hi,
for being here. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's a kind of a cold, rainy day where I'm at.
Ooh, where are you at?
So I'm in Belgium, in sort of next
Belgium.
to France. Yeah.
Like, okay, Belgium next to France. How did you, how long have you been in Belgium next to France?
Actually, only since June. It's quite new.
Okay, so we're at, what is it, six
Like
months?
6 months. Yeah.
Okay. What brought you over to Belgium near France?
Um, it's a little bit of a long story. So I did my master's in counseling in 2014. And the year after that, so I was working in private practice and, getting my hours for licensure. And my partner got an offer for a job in Amman, Jordan to brew beer. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is Jordan and a mainly Islamic
Yeah, it's
country?
a Muslim majority country, but there's like 20 to 30% Christians, I think. And it's right next to Lebanon, which also has Druze and a couple of other, minorities.
Okay. And
Yep.
so, okay. And so then you went there to brew beer
Mhm.
and you're like, okay, well, we're gonna go to Jordan, and you're thinking it's yeah. I mean, what did you think? Like, we're going to Jordan. What's going on in Jordan? Like, I mean, how do you even?
Yeah.
I don't know. If someone said, "Let's go, we're gonna move to Jordan," I'd be like, ah, okay. Well, what's going on in Jordan?
So actually, he was kind of applying all over and he got the offer. And I was like, yeah, like, let's do it. I've always been a little bit of like a history nerd, a geek. And so, like, Jerusalem and Petra and all of the Roman ruins, I was like, man, this is going to be great. Um,
Sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we were there for 4 years, a little over 4 years. I ended up working as an international school counselor. And from there, we actually went to China in
Ooh,
2019.
where'd you
Methodist.
go in China? Oh,
To
so you were
Guangzhou.
there in 2019. Okay. So
So
you
we,
got right all in that.
oh yeah, we moved in August of 2019.
Oh
We had,
shit. So it was already going on.
I mean, it was, but like nobody knew about it. It wasn't a thing. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that there were people who had COVID. I'm pretty sure that I got COVID in December of 2019, but nobody knew what it was at that
Right.
point,
I think a
right?
lot of people did even over here got it
Yeah.
around that time and didn't know what it was and what is their name.
Yep.
But
Exactly. Yeah.
had it.
Yep. So yeah, so we were in Guangzhou, which is, kind of across the bay from Hong Kong. So
Okay.
we had 6 months of like, we went to Beijing and kind of we're starting to do our thing. He was getting set up with a couple of breweries and then COVID and everything just like completely shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't it I feel like it was earlier than it was over here. Was it somewhere around the Chinese New Year when everything kind of shut down, or was it
Yeah.
because
So
yeah.
we had gone to Vietnam for the first half of that vacation and we came back on January 26th and we were like the last people really to come in at
Whoa.
that point. We had, I think it wasn't until March that they officially closed the borders, but most people didn't come back.
Whoa.
Yep.
And so how long were you there for?
Until June of this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then they're like, you can finally leave. And
Yep.
you went to, I guess, is that Middle East, Africa? I don't know. Is that,
Yep.
I don't know what it would be considered. Is that Middle East or Africa? There's my
Uh,
geography. That's not great.
yeah, it's the
Which I always
MENA
think,
MENA region, so Middle East, North Africa.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm kind of right there.
Yeah, you were right on.
Or if you don't want to do any of those, you can just go to Utah, and Utah has all that right there if you
There
want
you
it.
go. Yeah,
Um,
very similar.
so yeah, and with all the names and
Mhm.
Utah's a trip.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I'm from northern Wyoming, so
oh, okay, so you are familiar.
I am.
Okay, yeah, I went over there. I don't know, I think it's considered northern Wyoming. What was it called? Maybe like something like Flaming Canyon or Fire
Firehole
Canyon.
Canyon.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I went over there. That was
Nice.
pretty cool. Yeah, I went out driving through that area along the mountains. Whatever
Nice.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, did you go
Uh,
into Yellowstone?
um. mm, Not there.
Okay.
Maybe I did. Yeah, I went to. Was it Yellowstone? I swear it was Yellowstone. What? I think I went in there more at a different point. I went up there. Oh, what's that? I can't think of anything right now. My mind's just
It's okay. It's
dead.
okay.
What's the? Ah, geez. What's the fancy place up there in Wyoming where everyone goes?
Jackson?
Jackson. I went up there.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I went up in there. I have a friend, Jackie. She's um, a ranger up there.
Oh,
So I
nice.
went,
Yeah.
yeah, went up and
Cool.
did that. But it was interesting. There was some, I guess not a kid, I guess he's an adult who was surveying somewhere
Hmm.
and ended up dying. And they brought him back and
Yep.
had like a whole uh, like they flew him. There's like, that private airport. I guess not really
Yep.
private, but may as well be.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, had a big old town celebration and driving him through there. And I was there during that. And that was, I didn't go there for that. It just happened to
Yeah.
coincide with that time, but that was a wild time. But so
Yeah.
you go to Jordan.
Go to Jordan
Go to
from
Jordan.
Wyoming.
You went from Wyoming to Jordan. That's different.
It is and it isn't. So
Okay.
yeah, we have up in where, so I'm from Cody, which is like right outside of Yellowstone,
Okay.
northern kind of by Montana.
Yeah.
And in that northern kind of area, it's very either Catholic or Mormon.
Okay. Sure. And
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
yep. I'm quite familiar with both now. I grew
Yeah.
up Catholic and I
Okay.
lived in Salt Lake City
All
for
right.
like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yep. So I'm familiar more now. I
Yeah.
don't say I'm an expert, but so
Right.
you were around that population.
Yeah. And we
And
had a lot of fundamentalist Mormons, so polygamists.
okay, the FLDS.
Yep. Yep. Which is,
Okay.
I mean, they say it's one thing, but it's a whole bunch of different churches and kind of sects, right? So everybody has a
Right.
little bit different beliefs. But yeah, so
Okay.
moving to Jordan, having multiple wives is okay in Jordan,
Yeah.
and that kind of patriarchal culture and the religion that is, a part of life everywhere. That was, something that I was not, I'm like, it was familiar to me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty familiar. And and so um what was the first thing you did when you got there? Was there something like I got to go out and do this first?
So unfortunately, we lived in the brewery for the first 6 to 8 weeks.
Literally in the brewery?
Yeah, there was an apartment, but it was
Okay.
in the brewery.
Okay.
Yep.
What? All right.
And it was very cold, and the brewery is kind of out in the hills, sort of next to the Jordan River Valley, away from everything else in the city, in this little like Christian village, because it needs to be able to, brew beer. And we didn't
Right.
have a car, so we just kind of for the first like 6 weeks hung out in the brewery.
Okay.
Yep.
So what were you doing in there to pass the time then? If is that when you got into podcasting, or is there some sort of you got into making Rube Goldberg uh contraptions or something, or
Oh man,
what was going on with that?
we had a dog, so we brought a dog with us at that time.
Okay.
So it was a lot of taking care of the dog, making sure that the dog was okay, doing a lot of research on like finding an apartment and where we were going to live, and figuring out like what am I going to do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so was it like a lot of brainstorming with you two, or was it you sitting in a place with your eyes closed and
It was
you're
mostly me.
visualizing something? Okay.
Yeah, sitting in the apartment while he was out brewing, because they were like, "Hey, you're here, let's get you to work." And
Right.
unfortunately, the kitchen was a shared kitchen, and a lot of the brewery workers would be in the kitchen, and they were like, "Oh my God, there's a woman here. I don't know what to do with this."
Oh, because yeah, it was a lot like probably being back home.
Mhm.
Um, don't know what to do when there's a woman there, and
Yeah, in the factory, right? Yeah.
yeah,
So I spent a lot of time, kind of just in the one bedroom apartment, hanging out, trying to figure
okay.
out what I was going to do, researching apartments. It was a lot of solitary time.
So, I mean, what were you coming up with? Did you have ideas that could have been like a good number two, number three idea, or did you just get to one, or
So I
was
was,
it?
yeah, I was
Yeah,
doing private practice in the US, and I was like, maybe I can do that here. So I was just trying to like research the laws and figure that out. Eventually, because the brewery also had a bar, so we started to meet people through the bar who would come out to drink the beer because it's a craft brewery. So a lot of like the expats would come out. And we met
okay,
a few people that also knew some other psychotherapists in the city. And so then I kind of started working with that group. It was a consultation group. And that's how I found the job opening for the school counselor. It wasn't like my first choice, but when I met the counselor that was there, she was like, "Oh, you'll love it here. You'll love this job. I think you're perfect for it." She was like, "You're going to get this job. I'm going to make sure of it." I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
Yep.
Sure. Good. Let's do that.
Yep. Yep. So that was okay for, a couple of years. And then there were some like issues that I thought were to do with that school that I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to be here anymore." So that's when we decided we were going to move to China. Well, we were going to move. We knew that my husband had like some contacts in China and that he could probably get something there. So I was looking for schools there. And that's kind of how we ended up in China doing that.
Okay. And then, yeah, you're in China for a number of years then.
4 years, yeah.
So did you, um, so I mean, were you mainly in the big cities where they've seen a lot of white people, or did you go further out where you were a bit of an anomaly?
Yeah. So Guangzhou is not the most international city. It's more of like an industrial city. But we were also 2 hours away from the city center. We were still in the city.
Yeah.
The city is that
Okay.
big.
Yeah.
But we were out kind of in the boonies. And the only other expats were basically from our school.
Okay. And
Yep.
so with you being out there, were there any uh things that were different? Like I went out there,
Yeah.
I was out in some more space where, you didn't see a lot of
Yeah.
white people. And I ended up got some free bed sheets. Well, not free, for being the person that they could put on their Facebook page and WeChat that was had a light skin color, and
Yep.
holding up the stuff, and ended up with some uh, bed sheets. Was there anything like that for you?
I mean,
Or
going anywhere, basically you get your picture taken, right? And
sure,
sometimes they want to take the picture with you, but oftentimes you're just like sitting on the subway and all of a sudden people are taking pictures of you. You're
you're
like,
like,
"Oh,
oh,
okay. Yeah. Oh,
all
thanks."
right, yeah,
It's like on my way to work. Um, yeah, China is not set up for people who are not Chinese, right?
right,
And that was a little bit of a struggle. We lived close enough to the school that we didn't have a lot of um, like huge interaction with other Chinese people other than the people who worked with us. And that's partially just because of COVID, right?
right,
Because as soon as all of that lockdown stuff happened, like we were traveling and, getting ready to kind of try and integrate as much as we could. But as soon as COVID happened, it was like traveling outside of your neighborhood was difficult. Traveling to different cities was, really, really hard. And if you traveled outside of your city, and you became like a close contact, they could quarantine you in that city for 2 weeks, a month, right?
whoa,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So you
okay,
could get stuck. Um, and so there wasn't like a lot of travel. There wasn't a lot. You had to kind of stay in your bubble, unfortunately.
right. And I mean, that went on for a while in
Yep.
China.
Yep. So
And
it didn't end until December of 2022.
whoa,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's not that long ago. And
Yeah.
and so, because I mean, in Wyoming, it was a bit of different restrictions
Hmm.
uh, there as
Yep.
opposed to China.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
I mean, I felt very, very safe. Like I was pretty sure after that first initial, December 2019, that I wasn't going to get COVID again, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, by the end of it, so I think the August to December of 2022, we were testing everybody in the school, which was like 600 students and like almost 150 staff members all told, every other day. So 3 times a week. Yeah.
Who's paying for that? Who's
The
paying for
government.
all the?
Yeah. Yep. And that was in addition to any like neighborhood mass testing that you did. Yeah.
And so someone was making some money, I guess. But I mean,
Yep.
so it seemed to work. You guys stayed healthy, and you only just got it that one time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weird back in uh, in Utah. They had some weird rules. Like
Yeah.
after the mask stuff
Yep.
was done, uh, so they're like the film commission, they did a thing earlier, like during it, so they could film that there would be these rules. And they never updated them then. So like
Right.
up until almost the end of 2022, I think,
Mhm.
you still have to have masks on set, and it
Yep.
would be you have to wear them at all times except for when they say action, and then you take them off for a minute, and then it doesn't exist, and then you put
Right.
it back on as soon
Yep.
as they say cut. And it was weird. Didn't have to wear anywhere else. But so like sitting in wherever, and like you got to wear a mask. Like all these people were walking by, no one else wearing a mask, but still had to
Yeah.
wear a mask. And it was odd. It made
Hmm.
me feel weird. I'm like, what's like? You guys need to update this. This is kind of
Yeah.
ridiculous. And
Mask
yeah,
wearing in Asia is like it's been commonplace for,
right.
H1N1. So masks were never like the thing that people were ever upset about, I don't think. I think it was mostly, especially for the local people, I think it was like travel restrictions and like the mass testing that I mean, I think at one point it was, helpful until we knew a little bit more about the virus. And then it became this thing where, like, oh, we have a confirmed case. So we're going to get 500,000 people together to test them.
Right. And that was another thing too. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
everyone wait in this room. Wait in this room. We're gonna fill it up when it's six. Don't worry about 6 feet right now. It's not a big deal because you're all in
Yep.
this room. You're waiting to get tested. And yeah, like I had to get tested every day before I'd go on there. Or like yeah, be like a day or two before I have to go in, and then usually in that morning too would have to go in and do a test to make sure. Like yeah, it
Yep.
was crazy. It was
Yep.
absolutely crazy. And so, yeah, let's bring a bunch of people in here, and they'll be fine at that point. Just so they're all going to get tested. So
Right. Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So it was, I thought that their policy of like trying to do contact tracing and only shut down, small neighborhoods or parts of neighborhoods worked really well for a while. But then again, I think just the vaccination rate in China was actually not great. I think because of all of the other measures that were going on. So people didn't feel like they needed to get vaccinated. And the vaccine wasn't as good. Um, so yeah, there were just a lot of factors that by the end, I think, I mean, there was a fire where people died because they were in a building that was being quarantined and they couldn't leave. And that's where, yeah, there were protests. And that's when the government was
oh,
just like, okay, well, we're not doing anything then. So it was like this really, really regimented 3 times a week testing and then nothing.
Holy shit. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a hard way to learn a lesson.
Yep.
Holy crap.
It was weird. Yeah. Like the first 2 years were fine. And then it was that last year, man, that I just don't know that they should have probably started easing up incrementally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what happened when they said you're free to go? What did you do?
I actually have a couple of autoimmune diseases, so I just kept masking and trying not to go too many places. Our school went back to virtual for like a month after that because COVID just like ravaged at that point, right? Because
Right.
the vaccination rate wasn't high enough, and so I would just try to be as careful as I could be while I was still there. And then coming to Belgium, I'm in a town of, I guess in Belgium it's a city of 75,000 people versus my neighborhood of 500,000 people,
Right.
right? So it's a
Yeah.
little bit different. The cases are a little bit less, but yeah, we were a little bit more cautious, I think, just because I'm at a little bit higher risk. And the first time I got it, it really fucked me up. So I didn't want to do that
Oh,
again.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
that was the only time you got it, just that one time?
Yep. Yep. But it gave me, so my coworker and I both had it, and I started to have like really bad chronic migraines for
Oh,
like a year and a half afterwards. Yeah. Um, and she had some like coughing for a good 2 years afterwards, and her hair had started to fall out, and it was not good.
whoa.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, okay. And so are you still experiencing any of that still, or is that kind of gone
Most of
away, or?
it, yeah, most of it has like abated. I still now get migraines if I'm not careful about like stress and making sure that I'm taking, like I take turmeric and some other supplements and things to make sure that I'm on top of it. So if I'm not careful about those things, then I can still, get a migraine, which wasn't like super common for me before. I think I'd had like one migraine in my life before that. So
Whoa.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. And I mean that, yeah, turmeric's always nice. And
good for inflammation.
good for inflammation, yeah. Like if I ever get sick or anyone ever gets sick, I always tell them you get the ginger turmeric tea, you take
Yes.
that, you put some honey in it and lemon juice and as much cayenne pepper as you can take and put it
Yep.
all together and you're in good shape. You drink that until you feel better and give it a day
Yep.
or two and
Yeah.
you'll be good as new.
It's funny during COVID, our coworkers, our local coworkers were like, you need to be drinking boiled Coke with ginger. And we're like, what?
Boiled Coke?
Yeah, boiled Coke with ginger. And we were like, I don't want to drink that. And then one day, because we didn't know
Interesting.
what it was, right? So I think we had both taken off like a week of work, and then we were still sick for like 2 or 3 weeks after that, but we had to go back into work. And so our coworker, we were like miserable and like quarantining in our office. She like brought us the boiled Coke with ginger, and we both drank it, and we were like, oh my God, that actually did make me feel better.
Like
So boiled
boiled
Coke.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Uh,
It,
I could see that because it goes in. So caffeine is good
yep.
for like if you're having an asthma attack and you can't
Mm-hmm.
get your inhaler, you go and you get like a Coke, drink a Coke or something like that,
Right.
and then yeah, it's good for headache. So yeah, I could that could be
Yep.
a good idea. You guys, Coke is not bad for you. Look at this. This is the science today. You get Coke is good for you. It's good for you when you need to feel better. I like that. That's cool. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to have a little bit on hand then.
Chinese traditional medicine meets
Right
modern world.
now, so what was your tea drinking like? Your tea drinking, is that something that were you doing before, or do you still drink tea, or?
Yeah, so I actually have chai, homemade chai every day for my digestion.
What is homemade? How do you
So
homemade your?
we buy all of the spices in bulk, and then we have a recipe with like ratios of, cardamom to ginger to whatever. We
Yeah,
boil it with tea, and then it's kind of like a concentrate. And so I have, like 4 or 5 days worth of chai for the morning, and then we do it again.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know, like the making your own tea. That's cool. Like something you don't get to do a lot. And there was, I want to say it was when I was in Oregon and in Minnesota, I was able to get go to like a naturopathic doctor,
Yeah.
and that was nice. And yeah, they sent me to like they go to the herb store
Hmm.
and pick up stuff, and I liked that. It was pretty nice. Nice to have that, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I've
and
always
I
been a fan of herbal medicine, which is great because I'm a yoga therapist. I use Ayurveda a lot. So it works for me and it works for a lot of people. You just have to, it's not like, unfortunately, with modern medicine, a lot of times you can take the pill and it works, immediately and you have those effects. I think with herbal medicine, sometimes it takes a little bit longer, and that's why people get discouraged.
yeah, and that's unfortunate
Yeah,
because yeah,
yeah, it really is. Because it like with the turmeric, right? So I take daily turmeric just to keep my inflammation levels low. But like if I get a cold or something like that, I drink golden milk, so turmeric and ginger and soy milk. And it doesn't like, it's not like cough syrup where it makes it immediately feel better, but it makes my cold last a lot less long, and my symptoms are less severe when I do it. So yeah.
yeah, and it works. It works. You just have to give it time, and if you need a little bit of relief before, you can get
Oh
the
yeah,
over
I
the
mean,
counter,
I still
and
take ibuprofen and whatever, but
yeah,
mixing the two and finding the balance that works for you is really important.
uh, and yeah, I mean, just the inflammation. Like inflammation is something that's not really brought up a lot. Talking
Mhm.
about how you're feeling and how much inflammation really impacts you, and it's a lot more than you think. And a lot of foods
Yes.
are very inflammatory.
Yep.
A
Yeah.
lot of
And
yeah, a
it's
lot.
like, but there are a lot of foods. There, like our world right now is kind of like their 21st century go go go, stressful bombardment of stimuli all the time is also, inflammation inducing a
Yeah,
lot. And I think we're really like naturopathic doctors, functional medicine doctors. I think some people in the psychology sphere that are looking into psychoneuroimmunology are looking at inflammation in the brain and in the body and how that affects stuff. But it's still like that cutting edge thing. It's not mainstream quite yet, which is upsetting.
right. And well, I mean, may as well just keep packing everything in that's gonna be, cause inflammation. Keep packing that in until people start realizing, like, oh, okay, this is something that we need to
Mm-hmm.
reduce because it's affecting a lot of our body
Yep.
and a lot of our mind, and whether those two are separate or the same, that's a whole different
The duality
conversation.
question.
Right, the duality question. Well, it's you guys can make whatever assumptions or conclusions or whatever about that right now, but that's either way, inflammation's not good for those, and
Yep.
yeah, um, watch what makes you inflamed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
yeah
And it's different for everybody.
yeah yeah. I was talking to a guy yesterday on the show. He was saying like he takes note of everything that he takes in,
Mhm.
like and weighs it out. um,
Mm.
measures it, and has a journal to make sure that he can get the best out of
Yeah.
what he takes in, have the best output, and least, whatever that's making him not feel good. And so,
Right.
um, I don't know. I want to be able to have the ability to do that, but I don't have
I don't
those
think I
tools
could do
yet.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a lot more kind of go with the flow. Like I have my things that I don't eat, and a lot of that has to do with like if I eat it, it triggers like I have celiac, I have some other, digestive autoimmune issues, things like that. So when I eat things that are increasing that inflammation, it's almost like an immediate reaction in my body for me. But so I have such a restricted diet. I don't eat grains at all. I don't eat dairy and I don't eat any nightshades. So I'm basically like paleo without intentionally being paleo.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's restricted enough that I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna if I feel like eating, some extra gluten-free muffins today, I'm gonna do it. As long as it doesn't make me feel bad and it's, you know, then that's fine. More of a
Yeah.
go with the flow. Eat when you're hungry, and if you're craving something, it's probably for a reason.
Right. And I mean, that's what it should be with, or like with water too, like drinking
Yeah.
water, like,
Yeah.
but I mean, so do you notice with the water there, um, since it's not all the stuff taken, out of it, are you
Mhm.
drinking, like, you don't have to, like, here it's drink 8 cups because we want to sell you more bottled water or whatever.
Right.
But there they like, but here we take out all the minerals and
Mhm.
stuff of that. So then you're just always kind of thirsty and have to drink more and more and more.
Right.
Whereas I believe in Europe and a lot of other places, that's not the case.
Yeah. We have really hard water here. Like really hard water. You can see the calcium build up in like our kettle and stuff. Um,
Okay.
but that was also true in Wyoming, just because I
Yep.
think it's just
And
the ruralness of Wyoming, right?
yeah,
So it's something
Utah
that
too.
I'm pretty used to, that hard water. I tend to drink like a little bit of what I'm drinking now is like sparkling water with a little bit of juice in it.
Okay.
Um, and when I drink straight water from here, it tastes like home a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't find myself dehydrated here very much, but that also could be part of the humidity here as well. It's very humid.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All humidity.
I
All
mean,
humidity.
in
Some
China, we couldn't drink the tap water, so it was all bottled water.
were you,
Um,
were you drinking cold water there? Or were you drinking, like, because they're, for the most part, very against drinking cold water, and I
mhm.
understand it, like, especially with meals.
Yep.
It's so backwards to drink cold water, but what's better than having, go back to Coke, having a nice Coke with a hamburger or something, or
Right.
whatever it may be. And you're, cold, like, you're drinking, you're eating these really hot spicy meals, and it's like, you want some warm water with that, like, no, can I get
Yeah,
something cold? But it stops the digestion so
it does.
much, and it's so counterintuitive, and like, yeah. And I mean, then I got to a thing of, even now, like, most after any meal, I'll almost always have uh peppermint tea,
Mm, yeah.
because it's good for that. But like, I can't get to a point where I want to drink warm water or hot water while I eat food, and I feel I need to get to that. Something I need to aspire to, being able to drinking warm water. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, that's what everybody does in China, right? We had a water cooler basically for our water at home because you have to buy those 5-gallon water.
Yeah.
And the cold button doesn't work, just the hot button.
Okay.
Right? So you can press the cold button and water will come out, but it's not going to be cold. It's going to be whatever temperature your room is at that moment. And that's
Right.
true like all through China. I got pretty good at like hot water with like some lemon, right? Some warm water with lemon.
Yeah.
I still can't do like the straight warm water. I can't do it.
Yeah. Having the lemon in it for sure helps.
Mhm.
Like, just, yes, straight warm water is, I don't know, it's maybe something just we didn't have as kids and growing up, and like now it's just, why would I just drink warm water?
Why would you
It's
do
not,
that, right?
it's not good. It's
Yeah,
the lemon is a big help.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
don't
they do
know.
like barley water, I think, a lot too at like restaurants. The warm water, they'll have barley in it or something. So a lot of times there's still like some sort of flavor to it for
Okay.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. But it makes all the sense. So why not do
Right.
it? There's science behind it.
There is.
Uh,
Yeah.
so, um, yeah, but I don't know. Like, so maybe we just need to, maybe next time I order a Coke at a place, I'll tell them to boil it
Boil
for
it
me,
with
please.
ginger.
Yeah, boil with ginger. But you know, one thing, so with ginger, so if with ginger ale, uh I really like lime with ginger ale. Like that's
Mhm.
something that I like.
Yeah.
Uh but so then they have those machines where you can put, a little bit of flavoring in it, and
Yeah.
yeah, but they never really made a lime ginger ale that you could buy other than those kind of things. But ginger and like ginger after you get sushi,
Mhm.
uh having a
Yep.
little bit of ginger at the end, like it's always so good. And it like I feel like more meals should have that.
Yeah,
You know,
some pickled ginger or, the
yeah,
pickled cabbage or whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
it's good probiotics and prebiotics there.
right. I
Yeah.
don't know why we're not doing that. I looked at going and buying some, but haven't haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, I mean, in America, pickled stuff isn't, I mean, I think regionally,
Right.
maybe, like sauerkraut and some of those things in the Midwest, but pickled things just aren't like a major part of the diet like it is in Asia.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean I could go for some pickled ginger. That's
Yeah.
I don't know.
Kombucha. I mean, kombucha has like exploded in the US, right? So,
Right.
I mean, I guess that's where we get it. You can have some kombucha with your dinner.
Yeah. But I mean not hot kombucha.
That, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Who's doing hot kombucha? That's I don't know.
I
I
don't
feel
know,
like
man.
I should be uh having some tea. But
Yeah.
I have a whole drawer full of different teas for different occasions. And
Yep. Yep.
oh,
Yeah, my partner um really picked up like specialty tea culture in China. So he's got a lot of that going on.
because I mean you could transfer his brewing
Hmm.
knowledge. I'm sure there's a good crossover of that for the,
Yep.
the make your own tea game. Uh,
Yep. Yeah, just doing a lot of tasting and different varieties and different kind of plants and things. Yeah, he really likes it. So
so okay, so are you drink beer? Is that do you not?
no, I don't
Yeah,
drink any alcohol actually.
okay, because of the
Yeah.
okay. Um, so you never tried what he
Well,
was making?
I wasn't diagnosed until 2017 actually. I got really bad. Like I was taking a lot of sick days. I was feeling really bad. It was not pretty. And so I ended up getting diagnosed when we were in Jordan, which was great because they have great doctors there. And um, that's where like my GI doctor was like, you need to start drinking chai. I was like, oh, okay,
Okay.
great. I already kind of do that. But she was like, yeah, but you need to do it. Like that needs to be like a morning thing. Like, okay, I can do that. But before that, I had no idea, right? Because we were living in the US and we were not making a lot of money. So insurance was not something that we had access to. And so getting diagnosed with something like that would have been really expensive. So yeah, I tasted a lot of his beer before before we moved to Jordan.
And then and now,
Yep.
but now now you get tea, and
Mhm.
is so the tea there in Belgium by
Mhm.
France,
Bye,
uh,
friends.
by France. Is there what's the tea like there? Is it um, you like go to the grocery store or something,
Yeah,
or do you have a
you can go to the grocery store. There's also like some online specialty shops and things like that that you can do. For
okay?
my chai, we just buy like straight black tea. It's not anything super special, just because I drink so much of it. Um, but he's able to find some more specialty things. And I mean, we're in Belgium, so he also has a lot of good beer selection here. So
Sure, yeah,
yeah.
and okay, so there's are they like local things driving around to deliver you stuff, or is it like come through the mail, or do you have like does it all go through like
It's
Alibaba or something, or
I mean, you can get Alibaba if you want to. Um, but yeah, mostly there are a couple of different mail carriers. There's B Post and DHL, and then there are a couple of like German and from the Netherlands companies that run here too. But yeah, it's mostly B Post. It's a private company,
okay,
but it's mostly just in Belgium.
and so you can get all your stuff delivered that way, and that
Yep.
just takes it
And
to
it's very
your house.
interesting. They will drop it at your door, but they also have very similar to China. They've got the boxes where they can put the package and you can go and scan a code and it opens your
Oh,
box. But they
sure,
have those in like pickup points. So like there's a convenience store down the road, and that's where we get most of our packages. So we just kind
okay,
of head down there and then everything gets dropped off in one place. And so it saves a lot on gas and time and
yeah,
yeah.
and okay, that makes sense. Like I think Amazon does stuff a lot like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've told this story before. I used to have Wish.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so for some reason they would have it for these businesses called Wish Local, and so it would be like an access point,
Okay.
similar sort of thing. But
Yeah.
so if you're a business, you could apply to do one of these, and they would give you all these packages, and then
Mm-hmm.
people would come in and pick them up, and I
Okay.
scan them and shit. And the so this was in Salt Lake City. The clientele of people who want their Wish shit delivered not to their house are some fucking characters.
I
Like,
bet.
holy shit. And like I had a like a vintage shop, um and I was only open certain hours, and
Right.
so I had people come by all hours, like, why aren't you at your shop? It's 11:30 at night. Like, why aren't you open? I want to get my package. And like, nope, not open right now, man. I'm sorry. And eventually, like the
Uncle.
calls and stuff I'd be getting, I'm just like, look, I want to stop this. I don't want to do this anymore. Can I give you the packages to another access point? And they told me no. just you can stop, but you can keep all these packages, and they're yours. Like, okay, I'm like, okay. So I ended up with probably like 40, 50 packages of Wish shit. And I had a guy working for me then. I'm just like, dude, open this all up. Like, take whatever you want, and the rest, we'll put up in the shop, like either for free or for sale. And
Right.
yeah, so people who, or if you guys don't know this, people who order Wish and not have it sent to their house are majority interesting people. And interesting might not be a positive word if I'm going to use interesting
Oh man.
as a way to describe them. But
Oh, I bet my imagination is just running wild with all of those packages.
yeah, and the stuff you get in Wish are you're not getting,
It's not quality stuff.
it's not quality stuff, and it's again interesting stuff that you get. You can get a lot of interesting
Hmm.
things. So um yeah, so that's kind of where that goes. But I mean, it's cool if it's like you're going to a convenience store and there's something that's open 24 hours a day and you just set something up.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I think I got like maybe 60 cents per package or something like that. It was
Oh
just
man.
not worth it for
Yeah.
to like show up to have these people come into my shop where I probably don't want them going in, like walking through the store, because I don't want to be following them around like this shady character. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't want your business.
Yep.
And yeah, but a convenience store is open all the time, has tons of cameras, and probably, you know,
Yep.
totally cool. Totally
Yep.
cool to do that one.
Yep. Yeah. I'm glad that they're moving towards those boxes because it's so much more convenient.
Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about people leaving it on your doorstep and someone coming and swiping it.
Yep.
Or whatever, or someone that put it there like, oh, I never put it there, or there's no
Hmm.
discrepancy. If it's not in the thing, like it's not in the thing, there's no one else that could have, is either you or the person who put it there, and there would be camera footage
Yep.
probably of it to prove whichever way. And so
Yeah.
seems like a better spot to put it.
It is.
But
It is. It's for the bigger stuff, it's a little bit inconvenient just because we only have bikes here, but otherwise it's
okay.
okay.
So do you put on a backpack or something for those
I
days, or
have
do you take a taxi?
so I have a Bachfiets, which is like a cargo bike. So
Okay.
it's got a basket in the front that's pretty big. I mean, obviously I can't get everything in it, but that's what we use to do our grocery shopping and everything. It's got electric assist, so it's not like an electric bike, but it does help for when you're fully loaded down with like groceries or things from the hardware store or whatever.
Right. That
Yeah.
is a pedal assist, or
Yep.
is that okay? Yeah, those are pretty nice. I
Yeah.
got to use those after, or one of those after some knee stuff, and it was a
Yeah.
big help having that going up little hills.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, this is
Yeah.
nice.
It's
I
good.
wish I
And
would
the
have had that as a kid.
yeah, the city we're in is like very, very bikeable. They have bike lanes everywhere. They have dedicated like trails for bikes that are paved and everything throughout the city. So it's really
Cool.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Completely different from everywhere else we've lived.
yeah. I mean, yeah, being able to bike everywhere is something you can't. I don't know. It's nice. It's a nice
Yeah.
way to go back and take it easy. And
And
you
it's
don't need a
also a
car,
good
you
way
don't
to
need a
like
bike.
force yourself to exercise. Like,
Right.
I got to go get groceries. I don't have a car. I have to use my bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you put your bike? Do you bring it into your place, or do you have are there designated spots outside for it?
Yeah. So we're in I guess technically an apartment building, but there are only two apartments. And the very downstairs, there is like a little storage room. and we just keep our bikes in there. But
Cool.
there's also a parking area out back, and it's gated. So if we need to leave them outside for some time, it's gated, and only the people who live here can get in. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so how are people going to find you on the internet or wherever you would like them
Yeah.
to find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Inner Evolution Coaching. You can also find me on my website. And if anybody uses Insight Timer, it's a meditation app. I'm on there. I've got a group on there, and I've got a whole bunch of free meditations.
Okay. So what's
Insight Timer?
Insight Timer?
Yeah, it's a meditation. Really, it's a meditation app, but they've kind of moved into yoga a little bit too. And it's a free app. You can pay for premium, I guess, but I never have. I've been using it for like 10 years now for guided meditations.
Cool.
Yeah, and they've got a whole, it's a ginormous free library, and I've been starting to put my own meditations on there. So I've got a whole bunch of meditations, and we do live meditations and live talks and things. So it's a great place. It's kind of like social media, but without social media. It's more for, inward focus and things. So it's,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll check that out.
Yeah.
And so if you're like, could I make like whatever it is, like a channel or something
Yeah.
and put my stuff up, like do like a hypnosis?
I don't know if they allow hypnosis. You would have to look.
Call it a guided meditation if they were like,
Mhm.
there's no difference, but whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. But okay, all right, I'll give that a look over. Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much for being on. I was happy
Yeah,
we got
thank you.
to talk and meet, and
Yeah, you too.
yeah, enjoyed it, and hope you have a great rest of your day. All right.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, take care. All right, that's Dr. Liz Shuler. So thank you everyone for listening or watching or whatever you like doing, whatever it is you like to do in your own house, your own time, your own car, whatever it is. Thank you, and thank you for being here. So you guys, thanks so much for listening and watching the Public Access Podcast on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. And that is the show, man. Boom!
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.